Production, we had the police coming through, and of course we have the bagpipes starting us off. This is a good way to begin a fantastic night here in Winnipeg.
And quite a night actually to begin. The Winnipeg Police Pipe Band is renowned as one of the finest pipe and drum bands in North America. This band has been invited many times to the Tournament of Roses Parade in California, as well as other international parades and band competitions. So a little bit colder in Winnipeg than California right now, but as we see some other floats kind of rolling down Memorial Avenue right now.
There's the honorary parade marshal. Hubert Clayson is the VIP. And of course, this is the honorary parade marshal's truck. And Mr. Clayson really was a special person who got the trucking industry going, Nancy.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we were talking to Ernie Nairn a couple of minutes ago, and he said that Mr. Clayson was kind of the driving force behind getting this whole trucking industry to sponsor a lot of the floats, and as a result, much of the work that you see here tonight is thanks to Mr. Clayson, who's on that float, who's waving to the crowd. It looks like he's having a pretty good time out there.
He's having a great time. And of course, the man who lit the lights to start this whole festive season here in Winnipeg, Winnipeg's new mayor, Glenn Murray.
Glenn Murray just recently elected, won a tight contest over Peter Kaufman. Looks like he's leading the cheers out there. What a special moment for him.
A very special moment, a good way to start his chairman as mayor of Winnipeg, a 3-year term. Congratulations to Glenn on a fantastic campaign. And he's got a busy year coming up with the World Junior Hockey Championships, the Pan Am Games. What a way to start.
What a great way to start, especially if you're a sports fan.
Speaking of sports, Jeff Giles, the CFL president and COO of the CFL, is in this float here, and along with John Tory.
John Tory, and what a turnaround year for the Canadian Football League. They have a whole lot to smile about. Increased attendances. Montreal's went up 78% or something like this. So this is quite a year for the Canadian Football League, and hats off to the Canadian Football League for holding the Grey Cup here in Winnipeg in a terrific season.
And of course, part of the reason why it's been such a success is this man, Don Brick, the president of the Winnipeg Football Club, and the Winnipeg Football Club, J.D. Boyd, everybody has done a great job in making this week a successful one for Winnipeg.
And I think Mr. Brick was a little bit kind of over anticipated, or
overwhelmed
overwhelmed and had to slash ticket prices, but didn't mind. Said, you know, I'd rather have the stadium full than to have lots of empty seats. So there should be a good crowd on hand for Sunday's contest between the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Calgary Stampeders.
Our next float, it's VIP Libby White. It's the president and CEO of the Grey Cup festivities, 98 Incorporated. And they've done a fantastic job all week setting things up, and he's looked forward this week for the past 10 months with anticipation. As we move on to our next float, Nancy, is Miss Teen Canada, Nicole Gagnon.
She's originally from Winnipeg, but now resides, so she's used to the weather, in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. She was crowned Miss Teen Canada in Toronto last August, and she's been in Winnipeg all this week. During this time, she's visited the St. Boniface Hospital and the Rehab Center for Children in Isaac Newton Junior High.
She's an acclaimed singer, and she's just recorded her first demo CD, so good luck to Nicole. And then, of course, some of the big names in the CFL on this next float. It's the East and West Division Player Award nominees. Nancy, I believe there were 10 of them in total for the 5 awards, and congratulations to some of these people, including Mike Pringle, who's our MVP for the season.
Yes, Mike Pringle. It's Glenn Drever who took home an award last night. Winnipeg Blue Bomber on the float and waving to all the crowd. And I bet you the Winnipeg Blue Bombers wish that they could be in this year's Grey Cup. But if you can't be in the game, you might as well be in the parade, right?
Might as well be in the parade. Of course, now, as we move on, we come up to George Grant and David McDonald, who are the chairman and governor of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And Mr. McDonald's the vice chairman and the owner of the club. And you know that they've got some fans here. You can hear some of the cheers coming from the crowd for the Hamilton club.
They have quite a hearty contingent of fans after they won that East final against Montreal last weekend.
And now your favorite and mine, it's Anthony McClanahan of the Calgary Stampeders. Nancy, you had a chance to interview him earlier this week.
He told me that when he was younger, his mom...
I've been partying all week.
He told me earlier that his mother, when he was younger, he used to play with crayons, and he couldn't understand. He said that if he ever got famous, he would use his colors to his advantage, and so he's doing that and lighting it up.
Don't adjust your screen, folks. It's a 50-foot snowplow, and this is one of the most fantastic floats here, Nancy. It's just magnificent. It's a brand new City Winnipeg snowplow that has stopped along every block of the route and shot off fireworks in the appropriate colors of the CFL teams going from east to west. And from what I understand, its theme here is regarding the Pan Am Games and where the America's come to play, of course, the slogan. Sorry about that. But, fantastic job by the City of Winnipeg in terms of lighting the parade route and getting involved like
luckily
everyone
they
else.
don't have to use that snowplow to plow away any snow tonight. We've been quite fortunate with the weather actually here tonight.
Now we get a look. This is the Pan Am Games float I was talking about earlier, Nancy. It's of course the games are to be held from July 23rd to August 8th, and the two mascots are aboard.
Yes, Pato, the duck, and Larita, the parrot, will be walking alongside the float. Looks like they're up and they're having a great time. And if this is any indication of how the Pan American Games are coming along, it should be a colorful and lots of excitement event.
There you see Pato, the wood duck, and as you mentioned, Larita on the other side. A gorgeous float, lots of glitter to this Pan Am Games entry, and it's just gorgeous here. As we move on, the War Amps Play Safe, Drive Safe program, and of course their theme, Play Safe, Drive Safe, and they have 6 safety ambassadors and 2 safety walkers, Nancy.
Look, you can see their faces right there.
Yes, and many youngsters are enrolled in the CHAMPS program because of limbs lost in accidents while playing near hazards like railway tracks, machinery, and hydro towers. There we go. I think we saw that. Didn't we see it in one of Tracy's earlier features?
Yes, we did. A fantastic float there. Safety is no accident. A fantastic catchphrase for the War Amps Drive Safe, Play Safe program. Quickly, let's go down to Tracy Koga. Tracy?
So, how do you like the... Okay. Yes. Okay. So, what do you think of the parade so far? Good. 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 And there's still more to come. Here come the marching band.
Thank you, Tracy. The Yorkton Regional High School Marching 100 Band out of Yorkton, Saskatchewan. Nancy? Let's have a listen if we can here, Nancy. Manitoba, but it looks like they haven't lost their musical tunage along the highways, that's for sure. Really adding some atmosphere to this festival. There are 140 students from grade 9 to grade 12 under the direction of Larry Piran. Decided to stop the musical tunes and go out and shake as many hands in the crowd as they possibly can. Great way to get to know the people in Winnipeg. But they've been here once before, so maybe they'll see some familiar faces. You never know about that, Shawn. Yes, and just a fantastic group. Really an active group as we get a look at Goldie the Goldeye. Hey, he snuck in here. He's not supposed to be here. I thought that he'd be with the rest of the ball players vacationing somewhere in Florida by now. Goldie always the crowd favorite wherever he goes, and of course we always bring you some great Goldeyes action on video on Cable 11. Now, Nancy, the first truck here at this 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade. And
what a truck it is. The Manitoba transportation industry, with major support and funding from the Manitoba Trucking Association and its carrier members and associated trades, have underwritten the cost of the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade. You can tell they're happy to be in this parade, blowing their horns as they're passing along the parade route. 9 interesting and historical units have been placed in the parade to highlight the earliest mode of transportation on the Canadian prairies to that of today's modern vehicles and aircraft. And Tractor 1 is sponsored by the Manitoba Trucking Association.
The theme of this truck, Light on the Prairie. And one thing we should mention throughout the parade, as we see the different trucks and some of their fantastic panel displays, there's a different theme because it's the history of transportation that is the theme here. And this first segment of that is Light on the Prairie. Once again, this tractor is sponsored by the Manitoba Trucking Association. And
I think that they're cheering for the Bombers. I don't know whether you could hear them to the listening audience outside, but there's chanting, "Go Bombers, go," and maybe they'll be in the Grey Cup next year. Although it's going to be in British Columbia, at Vancouver next year. The Lions are going to host it.
There you see this very long truck, Light on the Prairie, as we mentioned. The theme, it's history of transportation, the transportation industry of Manitoba, one of the major sponsors here for the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade. They've done a fantastic job here getting this all together and really making this a special night for Winnipeg.
And it is something that perhaps they will build on and have a legacy from. When we were talking to Ernie Nairn earlier, he said that that this is the first time that the trucking industry has actually come together as a group to support something. And Mr. Clayson, whose float you saw actually earlier in the parade, was kind of the spearheaded. He was the quarterback on this kind of float parade. So congratulations to him, and that is a fantastic looking float.
Earlier we saw Hamilton's team. Now we see the Calgary Grey Cup Committee, and they have a 25-foot float that's coming around the corner. You see, of course, some of the great horses here. And what would a Calgarian be without a cowboy hat? The Calgary Grey Cup Committee and supporters have over 100 people taking part in tonight's parade. They've also trucked from the Foothills City 36 horses and equipment to make a favorable impression on our Manitoba audience. The committee also provided Grey Cup celebrants with 2 free pancake breakfasts. That was Thursday and today this morning. And always, everywhere you go, the Calgary fans whoop it up and they have a great time at Grey Cup.
And now they have something extra special to cheer for now that the Stampeders are in Sunday's final with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So good luck to them, and good luck. I just want to see a good game on Sunday, Shawn.
That's all that matters. Make it exciting for everyone. Now, this is, of course, a large collection of many different examples of what Calgary has to offer, including Lord Strathcona's horse. Now, let's go down once again to Tracy Koga.
Never thought I'd be walking along with the horse, but this is Dally, and we'd like to welcome you to Winnipeg, rather.
Thank you very much.
Enjoying the parade.
Super good parade.
Oh, and how many parties have you been at?
Oh, we haven't been doing too much partying, too much work.
Well, enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Back with Shawn and Nancy.
One of the best at horsing around, Tracy Koga. Thank you very much, Tracy. Fantastic job by the Calgary people here, doing everything they can to spice up the atmosphere here at Grey Cup. As I was mentioning, they have this Grey Cup committee has offered many things in terms of what Calgary has to present to people, including Lord Strathcona's horse, the Queen and Princesses of the Calgary Stampede, the 1999 Grey Cup committee float, a stick horse, good guys, rodeo clowns, a band, Calgary two-steppers, can I continue, there's dancers, and of course the official Calgary Grey Cup committee chuck wagon. It's just a fantastic effort by the Calgary Grey Cup committee people, and as you can see, it just continues on and on and on. Tracy?
The Calgary Stampeder cheerleaders. How are you going to keep warm on Sunday?
Hey, we've got some good outfits. We're going to keep moving. Fans are going to get pumped. We're going to be really excited. We're going to jump around. It's going to be fun.
And I bet you those cheerleaders will be out in full force on Sunday. In addition to all of those people that you see probably on the Calgary Stampeder float, they will definitely be out in full force, and they will be letting their Stampeders know that they have lots of support behind them for Sunday's contest.
Just got away from my friend Bruce Covington, who's on that Calgary Stampeder float there, and good to see Covey back in Winnipeg again, one of the big threats for the Calgary Stampeders over the past few years.
They were calling him the mayor of Winnipeg at yesterday's Calgary Stampeder luncheon. Very popular guy, not only in Winnipeg, but also obviously amongst his teammates.
And a good eater, too. Don't ever get near the guy at a breakfast table. The Pony Corral, almost put the Pony Corral single-handedly out of business, I'll admit that. As we mentioned, one of the longest celebrations here, the Calgary fans really adding life to it, as this young man is. Over 100 people taking part in tonight's parade.
Put that back in the glove.
As you can see, more and more horses, and they never seem to stop having a good time, these Calgary people. I think they forget there's a football game going on here.
I think that they'll be all football when it comes down to Sunday's kickoff, but now they're just in Winnipeg to have a good time, to kind of, you know, it's really good for the different cities to kind of converge in a Grey Cup city, because you really get to know people that you wouldn't already see from different parts of the country. I think this does a lot for kind of national unity. I mean, if I don't mean to kind of bring politics into a parade, but it's good to go out and meet people. We were at a function last night and met people from Edmonton, Vancouver, Calgary. It's really good to see that there's so much support, not only for the Grey Cup, particularly for the Canadian Football League across Canada.
It is definitely a true slice of Canadiana. And now, as we continue on, our next float is the Molson Brewery's float, and another long one, 42 feet, and it contains, I believe, a 14-foot inflatable, Nancy, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll have to find out until when it comes around the corner just exactly what that inflatable is, I suppose. But yeah, staff on board will be passing out souvenir miniature Grey Cup footballs along the parade route. So, geez, you know, if we'd gotten here about 6 o'clock when the crowds start to, you know, kind of start to line the parade route around Memorial Avenue where we're sitting right now, we probably could have been in line for one of those Grey Cup footballs.
Well, maybe if they had a quarterback like McManus or, you know, Garcia, maybe they could get a ball to us here from that truck. And we want to mention that they're passing out souvenir miniature footballs, not passing out. That's a key thing. Always have a safe Grey Cup. This is our next float. It's the Winnipeg Hydro float, and another large one. It's 60 feet, Nancy, and many of the members of Winnipeg Hydro have taken part in this parade.
This float features rope lighting and twinkle lights. The football theme will be See Louie Lighting the Bug. Kick field goals over a Winnipeg skyline in front of some football fans. Personnel on and off the float are all Winnipeg Hydro staff volunteers. Louie the Lighting Bug is a licensed electrical safety mascot. I don't think I've ever heard of one of those mascots before.
Hey, unique. Winnipeggers always unique, setting trails everywhere they go. And we should mention that many of the lights that you've seen here
There's the lighting bug right there.
There's the lighting bug. Many of the lights you've seen and many of the lights that Winnipeg Hydro use in their operations save thousands and thousands of dollars in energy every year. So fantastic job by Winnipeg Hydro. Hats off to everybody with the company.
This is a big year in addition for Winnipeg, but also for the Hydro, because they are the power behind the Pan Am Games, aren't they, if I am correct in that slogan? And it's good to see them out here on a chilly night, not a bitterly cold Winnipeg night, but a pretty chilly night. They look like they're keeping warm on the floats, waving to everybody in the parade. And Louie's the star of the show, I think, right now.
The concepts and ideas for this float began way back in August, if you can believe it or not. The volunteers were recruited in September to help build the float. Now, Nancy, the Citizens for Crime Awareness of Winnipeg, their trailer is 16 feet in length. It's on your screen right now. There you see some of the members of the Citizens for Crime Awareness. They do a great job keeping our city safe and making sure that Winnipeg is a great place to live. Let's go down to Tracy Koga. Tracy.
Vicky, are you enjoying the parade so far?
Oh Yes, I sure am.
Is this a great thing for the city or what?
I really love this for Winnipeg. This is great.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, Tracy looks like she's keeping warm down there, interviewing all of the interesting participants in this year's parade.
Nancy, what would a parade be without baton twirling? The Manitoba Baton Twirling Sportive Association, the Chimo Clown Club, Grey Cup Marching Unit, and the Navy League of Canada Cadet Band.
The Manitoba Baton Twirling Association Parade participation includes members from the following Winnipeg baton groups: the Dakota Community Center, the Grenadale Baton, Winnipeg Tempo Twirlers, and the Windsor Twirlers. And this special 98 Grey Cup marching group was organized under the direction of the following volunteer coaches: Joyce Ormshaw, Dana Poletsky, Jennifer Wong, and Linda Boyd. And sorry if I mispronounced any of those names.
The Chimo Clown Club takes part in numerous parades and participates in many local charitable foundation functions. And the Navy League of Canada Cadet Band is under the direction of Commander Hubert Vandervorst. The Cadet League is open to girls and boys 10 to 12 years of age. And the Manitoba Baton Twirling Sportive Association also entered in the 1991 Grey Cup Parade. And the musical selections by the Cadet Band tonight include It's a Small, Small World and the Mickey Mouse Parade themes.
Go, go, stop, go!
We have some Stampeder fans on the parade route. Of course, these are part of the Chimo Clown Club.
That looks like something that Anthony McClanahan, who we saw during the parade, might wear, right, Shawn?
On a daily basis, Nancy, actually. We have to be careful. Anthony threatened to beat me up during the summer, so I don't want to go there. But right now, we'd like to have a look at the KFC Canada convertible automobile. It's coming up just right behind this truck here. And of course, riding in this car, believe it or not, a Colonel Sanders look-alike, and that of course represents the original founder of KFC. And Nancy, I've dined there so many times I feel like I should have shares in KFC by now.
Well, it's nice to see that the restaurant industry is taking part in this parade, that's for sure.
Colonel Sanders, I believe, is about 150 years old now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
So KFC Canada taking part in the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade.
They have lots of outlets around Winnipeg, and I'm sure they will be happy to serve Grey Cup visitors if they come into their restaurants.
Sorry, Tracy?
How are you enjoying the parade so far, sir?
Very much. These are the most friendly people I've ever seen.
Oh, and it's a thrill to meet you.
It's a pleasure to be here. We sure have enjoyed the parade, yes.
Oh, and it's not too cold for you, is it?
No, it's fine. It's doing great, yeah. I thought it was going to be a lot colder than it is, but I think the people make it warm.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. The Colonel.
Colonel Sanders with a definite Winnipeg accent there, as we could tell.
Yes. And he's definitely not dressed for the weather. However, if he can keep warm out there with just a suit jacket on, all the power to him.
Well, a man that doesn't want to keep warm is Greg Link. He's on this next float, a 30-foot-long trailer holding an ice structure. And Greg also entered in the 1991 Grey Cup Parade. And believe it or not, there are no shirts on these men.
My goodness. It looks like they're they're wearing clothes, right, Shawn?
I hope so.
They're wearing clothes. They've got to be wearing clothes.
Don't be surprised if these folks aren't wearing any shirts at the game on Sunday. If you recall the 1991 Grey Cup, a lot of people were in the crowd without shirts on, and they were really enjoying the festivities. And they're the bravest people on the parade route, I'm sure.
And an interesting statistic going into Sunday's game, the Calgary Stampeders are actually 3-0 when a streaker kind of goes across the field naked. Yes, so I think that if it's up to the Calgary Stampeders, it will be clothing optional Grey Cup parade.
Now the next truck in our transportation theme here for the 1998 Festival Lights Grey Cup Parade represents an Aboriginal canoe. And Nancy, I understand, was one of the earliest forms of transportation.
4 main types of canoes were used: skins, a dugout or log, the elm bark or birch bark. Next came the Voyageur canoe, which played a major role in the fur trade in the mid-1700s to 1800s. The famous York boat used by the Hudson Bay Company to transport goods and haul furs back to their various ports along the shores of Lake Winnipeg. And this tractor is sponsored by Penner International Inc.
Now, some of the panels. The Aboriginal canoe is sponsored by the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. The Voyageur canoe is sponsored by Paul's Hauling Limited. And the York boat sponsored by Norway House, York Boat Days, and the Northwest Company. We'll be right back. The 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade is brought to you by the Manitoba Trucking Association, the Transportation Industry of Manitoba, and Nonstop Grey Cup Festivities 98. Welcome back. Our next float, the Happy Trail Riders. The theme before planes, trains, and automobiles, there were happy riders, of course. And the 1850 era town float features Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. Bandits are on the town roof, and they have a shootout with the Cowboys on the street alongside of the float. The Northwest Mounties, in their 1873 replica costumes, bring up the rear of the float, and you can see some of them coming towards the front right now. This group of volunteers, led by Jake Dawson and Brent Polson, raised over $10,000 for children's charity in this year alone.
Lovely parade and lovely float, colorful float in this parade, that's for sure. And you remember that movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? And if the parade stops, the group will imitate the early Mounties in their red coats and uses the theme of the musical ride to entertain while waiting for the parade to continue.
So never a dull moment when these guys are out on the street. The Happy Trail Riders, and very unique Western style entertainment. They do all kinds of things, rodeos and corrals, parades, all kinds of activities, carnivals, conventions. These guys really add life wherever they go. Tracy.
I'm down here with some fans that are actually going to the Grey Cup game on Sunday. Hamilton fan?
Oh, yeah.
Who's here cheering for Calgary? I'm iffy. I'm swaying back and forth. Boys, it's going to be a great game, but isn't this a great parade?
It's great. Wonderful, wonderful.
Great. Enjoy the game and enjoy this evening.
Special organization is the Children's Wish Foundation. They have 2 horse-drawn wagons along with 15 to 20 horses, and of course there's 12 people who will be marching alongside promoting the Children's Wish Foundation. Every year they do a fantastic and special job for youngsters making their wishes come true.
And hopefully this will be one of the floats that are going to be represented in next year's Festival of Lights parade. And from what we understand, the parade will continue even after the Grey Cup is gone. So hopefully they'll be back next year.
A light in the valley, that's the theme of the Salvation Army Community Services entry. And here we see some of the people, Nancy.
The Salvation Army has been known for years to be ready to be there when a tragedy or emergency strikes. The vehicle in the parade was just put into service this past spring and is one of 2 new ones purchased to handle situations in the Manitoba area. Donations to buy the 2 response vehicles came from the Portage La Prairie Rotary Club, the Real Canadian Superstores, and Sears. And one of the trucks and its crew have been assigned to provide soup 5 nights a week to Winnipeg's needy community.
Courtesy Chrysler from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. They have a 40-foot length entry here. There you see the Courtesy Chrysler from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. 12 people under the theme, build it and they will come. And of course, one of the things we've noticed is that they want to have a team in the Atlantic by 2003, Nancy, and many people from Halifax here pushing that effort here for the Grey Cup.
This group of Nova Scotians dressed in team jackets for the future Atlantic Schooners, the team that, yes, like you said, Shawn, they hope will take its rightful place in the Canadian Football League. Bringing their own lighthouse this year to the parade, they feel that the lighthouse will light the way of finding a stadium for their dream team on the east coast of Canada and make the CFL a Canadian league from sea to shining sea. This is the third Grey Cup parade, having attended the 1996 parade in Hamilton and last year in Edmonton. Off to the next float. Shawn?
Yes, there you see Relive the Pride, the Ottawa Rough Riders Grey Cup champions in the year 2000. Some people keeping the faith alive from Ottawa. If you remember, they left the league a couple of years ago. However, many of their fans still stay involved. And of course, the Kahlua Combo is a special entry here, special participant, I should say, in this 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup parade, also with this group from Ottawa. And then, of course, another team that left the league, Nancy, the Baltimore Stallions fan club from Columbia, Maryland, made the trip all the way to Winnipeg.
This group of 6 people will be carrying a 19-foot banner and 2 flags. The leader of the group is a gentleman that goes by the name of Joe Buffan Short. And when I was at that social last night, they have these buttons that say, "We may not repeat what we will remember," the fans of the Baltimore Stallions. So class organization. Isn't it nice to see that the CFL is gone, but definitely not forgotten south of the border?
Yes, I heard one of the Baltimore fans the other day saying when they left the city, 24,000 broken hearts were left behind. And that's really nice to know that they still support the Canadian game in their way in Baltimore.
Well, and a lot of football players still in the league used to play for, you know, the Sacramento Gold Miners and the Las Vegas Posse and the Baltimore Stallions, so they remember the Canadian expansion to the United States Football League.
The Winnipeg Police Museum with the theme of early Winnipeg police. You heard the horn there, the siren, I should say. 10 retired police officers associated with the Winnipeg Police Museum. Tracy, take it away.
You like my necklace?
That's very nice.
This is our brand new police chief, Jack Uwatsky, in this wonderful police car.
Yes, indeed. A 1925 Rio wagon that's been restored by our historical society. It's wonderful.
And what do you think of our city spirit so far?
Oh, it's fantastic. I can't believe the number of people out here. Absolutely fantastic. Good to see them all. You know.
Many people might not know that the Chief of Police, Jack Kowalski, is a CFL official. And since he was named Chief of Police, Jack has decided to hang up the spikes and he'll no longer referee. So I can't recall if he is doing the game or not on the weekend, but congratulations to Jack for a fantastic football officiating career.
And in addition to the float that Jack Kowalski's on, a second vehicle in the parade will be the last Harley-Davidson motorcycle. It should be coming up right behind the police patrol, and that is equipped with a sidecar for winter riding. It was taken out of service in 1978, and walking along these units will be those guys, retired officers in the original buffalo coats, and it looks like mascots of the Winnipeg Police Museum, and probably shaking hands and saying hello to everybody.
There you see some of the people that the police have arrested. No.
We were warned that some of the floats we wouldn't have information on, and well, I don't think that these guys are actually planned. It's I thought Halloween was in October, Shawn.
Last time I checked, it was.
Is that Bill Clinton?
Yes, and Jean Chrétien.
Not getting along.
The next is the Remax Real Estate McPhillips Street office entry, and they have the theme of the Remax Miracle Bus. And this red, white, and blue bus will carry approximately 35 underprivileged kids and those with some health problems. And 20 Remax agents will walk alongside the bus, greeting people along the parade route. And they are without their balloon, but they've got the fire. They're certainly lighting up and heating up the streets of Winnipeg here with this float this evening. I thought maybe they'd blown a gasket or a valve in the back.
Definitely lighting up the streets of Winnipeg. I'm surprised that's not a fire hazard, actually, but we won't tell the fire department, will we, Shawn?
I think they're at the end of the parade route. They don't notice this right now, but many people during the summer see the Remax balloon all over the city of Winnipeg, and I've had a chance to be in one and photograph it a number of times as well, and it's really a pleasure seeing that float all around the city of Winnipeg during the summer. And
kind of becomes a fixture. I remember driving along many times in Winnipeg coming back from the cottage or whatnot and seeing kind of, kind of attaches itself in the Manitoba-Winnipeg skyline in the summertime, doesn't it, Shawn?
If I was better at triangulation, I could probably guide myself home by one of those balloons.
I've never been up in a hot air balloon. How is it?
It is wonderful.
Is
It's just a special experience all around. And here you see some of the Remax people on this float tonight. And surprised some of those flags aren't getting burnt, Nancy, the way that wind's blowing that flame around.
Well, it looks like it's a little bit of a tribute to Canada, too, because you've got the Canadian flags kind of interspersed on the float. So looks like it didn't have to twist too many arms at Remax to get everybody out on the parade float. Looks like they've got lots of volunteers tonight.
Our next entry, the Thunder Bay, Ontario Police Pipe and Drums, and their theme, Celtic Illuminations. 15
members under the direction of Pipe Major Lauren Clifford and Drum Sergeant Donald Ferguson. The Thunder Bay Pipes and Drums were formed in 1984 under the guidance of Pipe Major Lauren Clifford. They have performed in both Ontario and Manitoba, as well as overseas. The band is composed of both sworn police officers and volunteers. They wear the Anderson tartan in honor of Debbie Willette, whose maiden name is Anderson, the wife of the founding Colonel-in-Chief, Chief of Police, Jerry Willette. So there you go, a little bit of Thunder Bay Police history.
And we'll listen to some of their music. Spectators in the parkade over at the Bay. We're, of course, located in front of the Winnipeg Art Gallery right across the street from the Hudson's Bay, and great vantage point for those people and for you at home. And the next truck in our history of transportation theme is the horses and ox cart, and the travois was the only means of land transportation for many early Aboriginals, as they used both dogs and eventually horses to travel and carry their goods across the prairies. The familiar Red River ox cart transported goods and people as the expansion of the frontier continued from the early 1800s to about 1885. The carts would travel just 12 to 15 miles per day, and every 3 weeks, 5 or 6 axles would be needed to keep them going. Now, the first post-road mail service opened up between Quebec, Montreal, and Trois-Rivières in 1734, and this was Canada's version of the Pony Express. This truck and tractor is sponsored by Kelmont Truck Rentals and Leasing. The horse and traverse panel that you saw, sponsored by the Economic Development of Winnipeg. The ox cart panel sponsored by Canadian Tire Associate Stores, and Pony Express sponsored by Canada Post.
And the next entry that we have in the Festival of Lights Parade is the Manitoba Television Network, and Hot 103 have a float that's about 40 feet in length, and they look like they're having a great old time just dancing and partying up with the rest of the folks. And let me tell you, it is a great crowd out here tonight, Shawn. It looks like they're standing from our vantage point probably 5 or 6 rows deep, so lots of people on hand, thousands of people on hand to see this parade, and what a parade it's been so far.
Lisa Cox, Jared Serrata trying to go through the roof of the truck, and of course their motto, "We cause parties," as you can see them up on the top of that entry.
Doesn't look like they're cold, does it?
No, they are indeed hot, and not just Hot 103, they're hot. The Beaver Bus Line's 50th year anniversary is the theme of our next one. As we see MTN still, they're kind of creeping behind the pack here, Nancy. They can't keep up with their Hot 103 counterparts.
No, but they're good to see that the television industry has actually contributed to this Festival of Lights parade, and it looks like they're having a grand old time. Look, of course, what would a TV float be without a television on board? That's for sure. Taping the parade and whatnot.
I thought you were going to say without a couple of floaters, but no, it's without a TV. Great job, MTN, taking part in the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade. And now it's the Beaver Bus Lines entry, and their theme, of course, is their 50-year anniversary.
This features a 1999 motor coach industry bus built to carry 55 passengers. The bus is equipped with a washroom, VCR television, reclining seats, tinted windows, AM, FM, CD stereo system, and is climate controlled. Passengers on board tonight are children of the company's employees. Geez, it sounds so comfortable you could almost live in that kind of a bus, Shawn.
I think maybe we should. We should go over, jump on the bus right now. It must be a special experience for those children. And of course, some icicle lights, Nancy, you can see on the side of the bus there. Wonderful touch added to this entry by the Beaver Bus Lines, celebrating 50 years of their type of transportation here in Manitoba. Do not adjust your screen. This is Humpty.
Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty's Family Restaurants. Their theme, come taste the fun. They have a 40-foot float with 8 participants.
The Humpty Balloon has been entered in just one other parade, the Red River Exhibition Parade, earlier this year, and won first prize, not surprisingly, in the commercial float division. 4 Humpty cheerleaders will be dancing to the Humpty Dumpty jingle. So good for them.
You have to give them first place because you don't want to mess with something that big. I'm worried that Humpty's going to hit the pedestrian crosswalk signs here. I don't know if he's going to make it through.
Oh my goodness.
We could actually have a Humpty fatality here on Memorial Avenue. There you see. Oh, they're going to pull Humpty down. He's wise. He knows how to get down, you know.
That's exactly right.
So, that is classic stuff.
Oh, but it looks like he's passing it and he's being put back together again. So good for Humpty.
Sand Stores with the Captain Blues biplane. The theme, your community sand store, flying high with bomber spirit. And many of those who have been to the Bomber games have seen this plane.
Captain Blue returns to the streets of Winnipeg. Sand Stores have proudly sponsored Captain Blue's planes this past year and are proud to present it in the 1998 Grey Cup Parade as part of the Sand community spirit. And they're definitely doing lots along the parade route to spruce up community spirit here.
The Hamilton mascots and cheerleaders. As we get a look, it's the Winnipeg JCs, 75 years in Winnipeg, from 1923 to 1998, of course, working for the community as the JCs have been for many years.
Some of these floats, we have to apologize, some of these floats kind of in all of the hustle and bustle that happens when the parade route starts just get a little bit out of order. So some of them don't go according to our script, but we're glad to have them in the parade nonetheless.
Yes, and fantastic float. Lots of color and, of course, flags and glitter lights.
Cheerleaders?
Cheerleaders. These are now the Hamilton mascots and cheerleaders. And let's go to Tracy.
Okay, I'm with the head cheerleader for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's Pigskin Pete. Welcome to Winnipeg.
Oh, what a lovely city you have. Lovely. I love this city. This is great. This is my first trip here.
And you have a cheer for us.
I do. Here, you know, okay, ladies, everybody. Skiwawa, holy mackerel,
You'd like to say hello?
Hi, how are you, dear? I'm having a wonderful time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tracy. The 17 Hamilton cheerleaders are called the Prowl, and
they will be on the prowl come Sunday when the Ticats play the Stampeders, that's for sure.
If you saw the Eastern final last week, you'll know how excited these supporters get for their Hamilton team, as excited as the players were. Now, the Manitoba Public Safety float, the theme is Roadwise Manitoba Public Insurance. 10 participants are walking alongside the decorated Roadwise van.
And obviously, with so many thousands of fans crowding in from across Canada for the Grey Cup, police and Roadwise especially want everybody to be safe on the roads, to take it carefully, not to kind of, you know, rush from party to party. Just kind of slow down, have a great time, and we can avoid any possible accidents that might happen along the streets this weekend.
Operation Red Nose is part of this whole Manitoba Public Insurance Team, and that is why the Manta Swim Club is there. Just so you know, if you want to go out and have a good time at Christmas, but you don't want to drive, the Manta Swim Club will support you by driving you back home and doing things like that. They have a phone number. We don't have it in front of us, unfortunately, right now, but they offer that service every year. A great job done by that swim club to help out people enjoying the holiday spirit.
Looks like Santa Claus reindeers have come to join us on the parade, Shawn, shaking hands to all of the young fans. And isn't it lovely to see all of the young people out on the parade route tonight to enjoy some of the Festival of Lights parade?
Thousands of children here this evening, and you can see some on your screen right now. Nancy, the crowds, we have no estimate of the crowd right now, but it was anticipated of being one of the largest crowds we've ever had for one of these Grey Cup parades.
And in 1991, when the last time the Grey Cup was actually held in Winnipeg, there was something like 80,000 people out to see the parade route. So I'm sure that the numbers, if they're not 80,000, they will be definitely at least that many for tonight's parade, because it has been a spectacular parade. It has definitely lived up to its billing.
The Jesse James Boys and Girls Ranch, a float team of Belgian horses drawing a wagon of 15 participants. And the Jesse James Boys and Girls Ranch, located on a 40-acre site near Birds Hill Park, was established in 1993 by ex-Winnipeg Blue Bomber Tim Jesse, the running back who played for the Bombers for many years. Working now with the McDonald Youth Services, the ranch gives a number of young people an opportunity to work together in building a better tomorrow through fun, fellowship, and experiences not often found in the inner city.
That's a great opportunity for kids who don't have the opportunity to do that. And Tracy Koga's down on the streets. Tracy, what's up?
Tim, tell us a little bit about the Jesse James Boys and Girls Ranch.
It was founded by Tim Jesse. He used to play for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and instead of leaving Winnipeg, he stayed and maintained a ranch just north of the city for underprivileged kids, and it's a real great place for the kids to come and spend some time.
And why did you enter into the parade?
Just to create some awareness so the people in Winnipeg realize that this ranch is they can help us out whenever we...
Great. Enjoy the parade.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tracy. Yes, indeed, a fantastic job and a fantastic idea by former Blue Bomber running back Tim Jesse. There you see some of the youngsters in that float. Now, the fourth truck in our theme tonight of the history of transportation is the Gateway to the West.
And this tractor number 4 is sponsored by Clayson Transport. The Countess of Dufferin's arrival in October of 1877 was the beginning of another new mode of transportation from Winnipeg, which was to become the Gateway to the West. The arrival of the CPR in 1885, the Canadian Northern Railroad in 1886, and the CNR in 1912 gave Winnipeg the distinction of being an ideal distribution center to Western Canada for grain and livestock. Hardware companies like Ashdowns and McLeod's, headquartered in Winnipeg to take advantage of the distribution opportunities. Western bank offices and, of course, immigration travel played a major role in the opening up of the West from Winnipeg. And the panels you see right there are sponsored by Countess of Dufferin, sponsored by CP Rail, the Gateway to the West sponsored by CN, and the train with the old CNR logo was also sponsored by CN. So a lovely, lovely tribute to the Gateway to the West, as we see that in front of your screens right now, all lit up, and definitely providing a little bit of history in addition to some of the Festival of Lights.
As we've been mentioning throughout this broadcast, it is the truckers of Manitoba who have thrown a lot of support behind this event. Each of the owners of these beautiful big tractor units pulling the display trailers has made a significant financial contribution to make the parade possible, and we thank them for their support. As we continue on, it's the Estevan Junior High School Band. 110 members from the junior high school in Estevan, Saskatchewan. This band is made up of grades 7 and 8 students under the leadership of conductor Mr. Aaron Hiskey, and the band performed in the 1995 Grey Cup Parade in Regina, and this past summer they took part in the 67th annual Williston, North Dakota Band Day Festival. The school's colors, obviously, are blue and gold, just like the Bombers. Let's listen in. The 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade is brought to you by the Manitoba Trucking Association, the Transportation Industry of Manitoba, and Non-Stop Grey Cup Festivities 98.
This is your first time at a nighttime parade, but I hear you're going to the Grey Cup game for the first time. And who's going to win?
Calgary! Calgary! Yeah, Calgary's gonna win. All the way. Sure. All the way. We love Calgary.
Good time. You're having a great time tonight.
Thanks, Tracy. And the next entry in the Festival of Lights Parade is from the Canadian Blood Service, and the theme is Circle of Light and Life, pardon me, and the Canadian Blood Services with its mascot, Buddy the Blood Drop. The Canadian Blood Service is our new non-profit national blood agency. The Canadian Blood Service is dedicated to giving Canadians a safe and secure blood supply that they can trust. It recruits blood donors and the collection of blood or plasma at 17 centers across Canada, as well as at hundreds of mobile blood donor clinics. It tests every unit of blood for safety, processes it into several components, and distributes blood and blood products to hospitals throughout the nation. Shawn?
Another company I have shares in just because of the volume of usage, Coca-Cola. It's the Coca-Cola company's semi-trailer, 40 feet in length, and this semi-trailer is complete with lights and music, is the one seen in the company's TV commercials before last year's holiday season. It also made an appearance in last December's Winnipeg JC's Santa Claus Parade.
It looks like Santa Claus is there, as a matter of fact, too.
Yes.
Handing out cans of pop, perhaps?
I would think so, to all the good boys and girls who've been nice this year, not naughty, of course. And what would a Grey Cup parade be in Winnipeg without the Winnipeg Football Club? And that is our next float here. The Winnipeg Football Club, this 29-foot in length float, features the Blue Bombers' two very familiar mascots, Buzz and Boomer. Buzz is up top of the float, and Boomer's on the ground. If we know anything about Buzz, he's skydived into the stadium, he's dropped on a rope, he's bungeed in, and he's the brave one of the two.
Boomer's played itself safe. I think he's on the ground, and he's just he's letting Buzz do all the work, that's for sure.
His insurance premiums are much lower that way, I
would think
find.
too. And it's nice to see that even the Blue Bombers, even if the Blue Bombers aren't in the 86th Grey Cup, that they do still have a lot of fan support. And, you know, if you can't be in the game, you might as well be part of the parade.
Now the Winnipeg Blue Bomber Blue Lightning Dance Team is also on the float. 26 members of the Blue Bombers Blue Lightning Dance Team will perform many of their familiar dance numbers along the parade route. Right now, they're just having a good old time.
Doesn't look like they'll be doing too many. I haven't been to too many Bomber games, Shawn, but I don't think that they perform their routine sitting down. When I've seen them at Bomber games, they've usually been up. But they look like they're having a great time at the Festival of Lights Parade nonetheless.
I think they have to sit down because Buzz is rocking the float. Our next float, the Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary, and their theme, of course, is boating safety. 30-foot float boasting safety show van and trailer, as well as some mascots.
The safety equipment boaters need are featured on this float. The two water mascots, Sammy and the Safety Seal, and Porta endeavor to get the proper safety message across wherever they appear in parades and at public gatherings.
And of course, the familiar diver down symbol on the side of the entry. The Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary taking part in this 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade.
Nice to see all of the mascots out in full force with Buzz and Boomer, and you've got, you know, the two mascots from the Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary kind of waving and shaking hands. I think that really makes this a special night for some of the young fans that have gathered along the parade route, Shawn.
And the polar bear and the walrus, just two symbols of very good swimmers in ocean waters, that's for sure. This next entry is the Winnipeg Convention Center's lighting the way to the Grey Cup Party Headquarters, and it's 75 feet in length, Nancy, and it features a multi-function sky tracker projecting dancing lights, as you can see off the back. Entertainment on the float is provided by a Winnipeg band, one I've seen many times, Free Ride. And they do all kinds of Beatles sets and Rolling Stones sets, and right now they're doing the Fab Four, and we'll see if we can listen into their music. Paul and Joel and Jules and Ringa that are being on the show. We're really proud to be bringing you this parade coverage. It's the Videon Cable 11 good folks. We'd like to thank them all. It is one more part of Videon's ongoing commitment to be part of big events like the Mayoral Forum, Canada Cup Volleyball, and the Festival de Voyageurs that are so much a part of our great Winnipeg community. And we'd like to thank the great Videon Cable 11 folks for bringing us this special parade event.
And the next float coming around the corner is Kesso Aboriginal Services Walking Group. There's about 20 people in this float. Well, it looks like we've got the raceway. It looks like the raceway is kind of
they've lapped
outpaced. Yeah, they've lapped the Kesso Aboriginal Services Raceway with a little, complete with a little driving around car. Have you ever been in one of those go-karts, Shawn?
Yes, I have. The one out on Portage out at Thunder Rapids. A fantastic, fun place to have a good time. And we're sure that Kessel will be coming down the backstretch at any point here to try and catch up to the raceway people here. But we should mention that...
there they are.
There they are. There's Kesso, and you were saying they're a non-profit organization, I understand, Nancy?
Yes, volunteer-based organization founded in 1967, 31 years ago. Its purpose is to transfer Canadian expertise to businesses, communities, and organizations in Canada and abroad. Kesso volunteers are highly experienced in their profession or industry and serve as advisors in the Canadian Aboriginal communities. And the next float we have, Shawn, what's on deck there?
It's the Mid-Canada Truck Services float, 63 feet in length, and you can even see some uprights on on this truck.
Mini uprights. I think I might be actually able to kick a field goal through one of those uprights, Shawn. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure you could, Nancy. I've seen you boot the pigskin. You know, I think Oz Baldison's got something to worry about on Sunday.
I don't know about that, but definitely one of the longest floats in the parade that we've seen thus far, and everybody's out there and waving to all the folks gathered along the parade route.
Once again, Tracy Koga, take it away.
Some people always have the best seats. We're sitting on a nice bus bench. Krista, is it past your bedtime? Yep. You know, but this is a great place to be, isn't it? Yeah. Still more to come. We realize we're only halfway through.
Thanks, Tracy.
Okay.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Our next truck in our theme of the transportation history is a truck vintage 1928, and the first panel shows distributed goods around the city area. A typical truck of 1945 was larger and would hold more for the growing population. And then the fuel hauler with its 3 axles from the mid-1950s is also displayed. This tractor is sponsored by Reimer Express Lines Limited. The 1928 truck panel is sponsored by Cummins Mid-Canada Limited, Fort Erie Industries Limited, and Custom Truck Sales Manitoba Limited. The 1945 truck sponsored by Freightliner Manitoba Limited, Volvo Manitoba Truck Center, and Eaton Truck Components. And of course, that panel right there, the 1955 truck, sponsored by Midwest Detroit Diesel Allison, Powell Equipment Limited, Parkside Truck Sales Limited, and Peterbilt Manitoba Limited, and Peterbilt of Canada.
We were warned that this float was one of the larger floats, and we've just seen 2 large floats in a row, and it is definitely, what a pretty picture that paints coming down Memorial Avenue tonight, Shawn.
Yes, right in front of our broadcast area, which of course is in front of the Winnipeg Art Gallery. We'd like to thank our friends at the WAG for making this possible for us, and we're getting a great look at this float with all the further history of transportation being displayed here.
And we saw in one of Tracy's earlier reports earlier in the broadcast how much time and effort and all the volunteer effort that actually went into making one of those floats. I had no idea that it took that long, and the process was behind making a float of that magnitude.
Golden Plains Agro Incorporated And their theme is Golden Plains Agro salutes the Canadian farmer. And the float is 36 feet, and it's in an Agro C62 new combine.
Gold Plains Agro is a farm equipment dealer in Brunkield, 1.5 miles south of that famous 1997 spring flood Z dike that protected the city of Winnipeg. This is the 75th anniversary of the Gleaner Combines in North America, and this is the new generation of a company combines in the parade. So we're getting some new look at some of the latest farm machinery in the Festival of Lights parade tonight, Shawn.
Yes, and this new farm machinery is collecting lights. It's pulling the lights up into the combine, and I wonder what they make out of that. I guess instead of separating the wheat from the chaff, it's the glass from the element. I don't know. It's
I'd never seen a combine decorated that lovely and lit up as wonderfully as that float is tonight.
Well, it's a good way to combine a combine and lights, I suppose.
He's starting.
He's starting. Okay, I'll back off. The bad puns will stay out for another little while. Anyways. Our next float, of course, another fabulous event in the city of Winnipeg, the Festival du Voyageur, and it takes place every February. And Nancy, I understand, as many Winnipeggers do, it's a big winter celebration.
The Festival du Voyageur is the largest winter celebration in Western Canada. Next year's winter dates, mark this on your calendar, are February 12th to the 21st, 1999. The 20-foot canoe, as we just see the end of the previous float, is being transported by voyageurs, followed by another 60 voyageurs wearing Voyageur capods made by Hudson Bay blankets and greeting the parade watchers. There we go. They're holding a canoe and waving to all of the folks gathered along the parade. Here's Tracy.
Oh, Renee, the wind is starting to pick up, so the flag is blowing fine. Tell us a little bit about the flag you're carrying.
The flag is the Union and National Métis flag. It started in 1887. It says it represents the French mixed bloods in St. Boniface, and we're a historical organization.
And the crowd has been busy all the way down the parade?
Yeah, it was very, very busy. They really love our canoe in the back there. There's these guys in the back, they sure have a good character there.
Well, you're almost finished. Have a great time.
Well, thank you, madam.
You were saying that the Festival de Voyageur is one of the things that Videon is committed, and one of the community projects that Videon is committed to putting on the air.
Yes, indeed, a fantastic event. In our next float, the Forks North Portage Partnership, the theme is Le Tramway. And this horse-drawn wagon is a familiar sight at the Forks, offering visitors rides around the site. A team of Belgian horses is pulling the wagon. And how they made it over on the flight from Belgium, I'm not sure, but they're sure looking lively here this evening, pulling this Forks float.
I've often seen them down at the Forks, actually, and they are a wonderful tourist attraction when you go down and visit the Forks market on a summer day, or any day for that matter.
Manitoba Hydro supports non-stop sports is the theme of our Manitoba Hydro float. It's 16 feet long.
The 6 sport icons represent many of the sports, both at an amateur and professional levels, that Manitoba Hydro supports through employee and volunteer involvement and sponsorship. These include hockey, baseball, football, curling, soccer, golf, and of course, the very own Pan Am Games in 1999. Manitoba's looking forward to that. Manitoba Hydro is looking forward to that. Everyone in the city and the province is looking forward to that wonderful gathering. Thousands of athletes from all across Canada, North America, coming to Winnipeg next summer.
Former Manitoba Bison football player Dale Dreacher and his Moo Bus, a familiar sight around the city at all kinds of sporting events, such as Manitoba Bison football games, for example. And what better place to be than in the Moo Bus right now? And that's where Tracy Koga is. Tracy, what's happening?
We are in the Moo Bus right now. Gail, tell us about the Moo Bus.
Well, we got a great bunch of people out today. We've been in the Grey Cup Parade 1991 here, 93 in Calgary, 95 in Regina, and now 98 in Winnipeg.
And what great football spirit don't we have, right?
We are the best fans in the world, and these people here are true CFL fans. About 30 of the people here have season tickets for the Bombers.
Great, thanks a lot, Dale.
Right on.
Thank you to Dale, and of course his wife Jodine Self, who's part of that. And there you see Jordy Wilson and some of the other coaches from around the city here. And we saw Bruce Covington earlier on the Calgary float. He's one of the owners, I believe, of this bus, and he's been in it many times. And it's quite a fixture in Manitoba Bison football games. They sure know how to have a good time, the Moo Bus people.
starting experience, maybe?
She's starting now. I guess it's equal time. All the revelry going on the Moo Bus. Many of these people, believe it or not, are teachers. So
I don't believe it. Now the teachers I have at night school, that's for sure.
The City of Winnipeg traffic signals float is our next float. And at noon, the day before the parade, the workers at the traffic signals branch decided that they would like to support the Grey Cup parade of lights. And the majority of the staff came back and worked late to design, came back at night, I should say, to design and build a float with a Grey Cup spirit and theme. And a football field is outlined with goalposts, as you can see, made from signal poles to provide the basic theme of the float. The workers and their families who are on the float are sending a message to all to drive safe and have a good time. That's like when I drive, Nancy. I see everything at once like that. That would explain my driving record.
I've driven with you before. I know what you mean. Stay off the sidewalk, Shawn.
I have a safe Christmas by not driving at all. You know, I would be upset if that wasn't so true a comment, too.
Oh, no. And the float that we have now is the McDonald's restaurant float. It's the Ronald McDonald van. The float highlights Ronald McDonald and the McDonaldland characters like Grimace, Hamburglar, and Birdie. Now, I don't remember Birdie, but I definitely remember growing up and going to McDonald's and seeing Grimace and Hamburglar. And, oh, Ronald McDonald is even speaking to the crowd as he goes down Memorial Avenue.
I'm old enough to remember Birdie, and I guess I have to date myself because no one else will. CJOB 68, the official station of the Grey Cup this season. They are, of course, providing a pregame show from 1 till 3. The stadium, they have a 21-foot entry consisting of a mobile broadcast studio. This is the one that Ron Kuipers does his pregame show broadcasts from. And the theme is CJOB 68, Manitoba's Grey Cup station. And make sure you tune in to CJOB on game day to enjoy full coverage of the event.
Some of the guys in there look like they're having a good time.
And Bob Irving, two of the members of the broadcast crew for all the Bomber games. Mitch, a former CFLer himself, very tough player in his day. And of course, some other members of the CJOB staff taking part in this parade tonight on the float.
And the next float we have is the Aerial Fusion Baton Sport Company theme is Catch the Spirit, and there's 50 participants on this float. The group of 50 performers will be performing twirling glow-in-the-dark batons, and dancers will be performing a flashlight dance right behind there. The baton sport is a non-majorette activity similar to gymnastics and is relatively a new form of sport and recreation. World champion medalists in the 1998 freestyle and dance twirl champions in the sport of baton are members of this group. It looks like they're doing some dancing and kicking up their heels as the baton twirlers follow them behind.
And what a perfect fit for a Festival of Lights parade to have a flashlight dance, as you're seeing there, and of course some of the baton twirling.
Some of the moves that those baton twirlers do are just amazing.
Yeah.
You don't get any idea of how difficult it is until you actually try and pick up a baton.
Some of the participants.
The next float that we have, we believe, is a school bus decorated to be, is that the Shoppers Drug Mart float? I don't think so.
I don't think so, but the Shoppers, yes it is the Shoppers Drug Mart entry. This helium, there's a helium life bear that will ride a flatbed, and they've had many daytime parades with this a few times, and I'm sure it's must be the back. It's hard to see right at the moment, Nancy, but
maybe it's hidden in behind all those dark windows. There it is.
There you go. And as I was mentioning, this helium life bear is riding a flatbed, and it's been entered in many daytime parades, and this will be one of the few times that the bear will be spotlighted on the night, and it's here on the trailer. Should it be necessary that the bear can be lowered to avoid some of the overhead wires and such as we saw with Humpty earlier on. So
isn't it past that bear's bedtime?
I think it is.
Oh, another local company getting out here and supporting the Festival of Lights, and it's always nice to see all of the, we thank all of the businesses that took the time and the effort to get, it's not easy to get a float together, to get the volunteers and to get everything coordinated, and we want to thank them for their support because they are definitely making this Festival of Lights parade a memorable one, Shawn.
Once again, Tracy's on street level. Take it away, Tracy.
Oh, well, we have guests from out of town. Where are you from? I'm from Stonewall, Manitoba. From Warren, Manitoba. And you, sir, where are you from?
Transcoda.
Oh.
It's a long way still, yeah.
How's your granddaughter enjoying it?
Good. That's a lot. Good.
Thank you, Tracy. Again, another look at the Helium Life Bear. From
Got a great view of the parade, I bet, doesn't he, Shawn?
The best view, yes, yes.
Looking down on everything.
Yes, looking at all those smiling faces, looking back up at him.
And he's got a great crowd of support looking up to him, that's for sure.
You see it on your screen, and it looks gigantic in comparison to the people here. When you see it live here from street level, I'm thinking Godzilla, Tokyo, all over again. I mean,
a little bit friendlier than Godzilla.
There's the view you have from the street, folks, and this thing is enormous, trust me.
Can you imagine how long it took them to blow that thing up?
Oh, good 5 minutes, yeah.
I guess that depends on how much hot air you have in you.
Well, for me, yeah, about 5 minutes, I guess. But this thing is just gigantic. It can dance too, apparently, as we can see here.
Yeah, got the moves and the height, and wow.
Coming up right now in front of the main area, in front of the Winnipeg Art Gallery here.
Oh man, it is just, it's overpowering. What a great shot. Good camera work, guys.
Fantastic shot. We should mention that John Campson's on top of the roof, and this shot being brought by Marv Thiessen, who's up in a cherry picker. We've got cameras all over the place here tonight, folks, to bring you this 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade. And I think the Helium Life Bear is done. He's going into hibernation.
Somebody poked a hole in him, perhaps. Or maybe it's just that he's got to get through the pedestrian walkways here.
Actually, I believe he's crowd surfing right now. There's Marv Thiessen up in the cherry picker. One of the many people bringing you this great event here this evening. And trust me, he's not sleeping. He's bringing you another shot of the Helium Life Bear. And our next float, Murdoch McKay Collegiate Institute. This group of high school students will have their own walking puppet theater with the students marching as the puppets. And there you can see some of them. It's hard to get to them in behind. There they are, right along the parade route there. 3 large Christmas elves will appear to control the actions of the puppets. This is their first parade, but they have entered the Artists on the Avenue celebrations many times before.
Can you figure out what the puppets are on the top of the parade? On top of the float? I don't know what they are, actually, Shawn. They're doing a good job operating them nonetheless.
They're Christmas elves.
Oh, okay.
And the students below, as you can see, are controlling the actions with those tinsel.
That interesting.
So
the parade being held up, I think, a little bit by the
by the Helium Life Bear. Now our next truck, the bus capital of North America.
Bus manufacturing in Winnipeg dates back to the early 1930s. One of the first was Motor Coach Industries, who started building buses in 1932 and continues today to build modern, fully equipped highway cruisers that hold as many as 55 passengers. In the urban bus designing and building, New Flyer Industries has been in business building buses since 1937. Yearly production totals approximately 1,500 buses for communities all over North America. And this tractor number 6 is sponsored by Atomic TCT Logistics Inc. 1928 bus panel sponsored by Motor Coach Industries Limited. The bus capital sign panel is sponsored by Beaver Bus Lines Limited. And the 1938 bus panel is sponsored by New Flyer Industries Limited.
And as we've said many times throughout the broadcast, it is the truckers of Manitoba who have thrown a lot of support behind this event. Each of the owners of these beautiful big tractor units pulling the display trailers has made a significant financial contribution to make this parade possible. And on behalf of us, we thank you for that contribution.
New Flyer Industries is one of the growing companies in Winnipeg. Has gotten lots of contracts to do different buses and whatnot, not only within Winnipeg, but I think south of the border, Shawn, and congratulations to them.
So another fantastic entry, and from what I understand, Nancy, some of these truckers are having a little side competition. We'll talk about that as the next truck comes up. Right now, the Scandinavian Cultural Center of Winnipeg, a 40-foot float with 15 participants and 10 people walking along the side. The theme is the magic of Scandinavia Christmas Festival.
This float features Christmas trees adorned with over 1,000 lights. Wow, that's a whole lot. With representing each of the 5 Nordic countries, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, and Norway, and Sweden. Christmas elves, like the ones you see waving on your screen in traditional costumes, will be featured, as well as reindeer from Lapland, and Santa Lucia, with her crown of lights arriving in Sweden, completes the float theme. Christmas elves are a tradition in all 5 countries. This cultural center participated in the 1991 Winnipeg Grey Cup Parade, using a Viking ship with raiding Vikings along as their entry that year. So this one a little bit different, but brilliant nonetheless.
Yes, they stole my watch, actually, those raiding Vikings. Our next float, the Winnipeg Power and Sail Squadron, a 60-foot boat, as you can see here. A 32-foot cabin cruiser, I should say. It's a 60-foot float in all, 32-foot cabin cruiser on the flatbed trailer. The theme, like we saw earlier on some of the other ones, is to promote boating safety. You see some of the young people getting a special ride here tonight. That's a fantastic shot. That's a memory this child will have for the rest of his life.
And that's nice to see that the Winnipeg Power and Sail Squadron out to support the city and the Grey Cup, and out to kind of promote a little bit of awareness about boating safety. And that's always good to have, even though it's not exactly boating weather in Winnipeg right now. It's still nice to have create some awareness. Shawn, what's the next one?
I believe this says the city of Selkirk on it. And of course, we can't forget our friends in Selkirk who are having their 100-year school reunion coming up soon. And this could be, Nancy, the largest school reunion ever held in Manitoba.
Yes, it's the Lord Selkirk Regional Secondary School reunion. I did not go to Lord Selkirk Regional Secondary School. However, how many students do you think that they figured will be
believe
coming
it's,
back?
well, there's 1,300 or 1,400 students every year, and
wow.
Who knows how many will come back. We'd like to say a special hello to Jeremy Valance, regular Videon, fellow Videon programmer, I should say, up in Selkirk, and we hope you're enjoying the broadcast this evening. And hey, take part in that great reunion to be held July 8th to the 11th of 1999. And now
this is the Lions Club float that we're seeing actually come down Memorial Avenue with the Canadian and the American flags blazing away, and the Lions flag blazing away. They've got volunteers on the parade float, and let's see what we have about that, Shawn.
40 participants on this 24-foot float. The theme is Lions Helping Many, and Lions District Governor Gunther Zion will be in the parade on the Lions bus. And the Lions Club is involved, of course, in many projects throughout the district here in Winnipeg, helping those through their eye bank, providing guide dogs for the blind, the deaf, and other handicapped individuals. Lions Foundation provides assistance for those who require, provides an assistant for those who require medical assistance not within their city or town, and they're constantly working in the fight as well against diabetes. And there you see some of the guide dogs guiding people along the parade route here this evening.
One of the wonderful, strong community groups that exist within Winnipeg that don't really on a daily basis get a whole lot of publicity, but it's nice to see them when we have parades like this to come out and to have people show their support for people like the Lions group, because without it, I'm sure that Winnipeg would be a whole lot less better off.
When I worked for the community newspapers in the city, I'd always heard about the Lions clubs, and it wasn't until I actually got out and met some of the people and covered some of their events and functions that I realized what a fantastic job they do for the fabric of our community. So a fantastic entry, very colorful too.
And I think, Shawn, the next float that we have coming up, this tractor is sponsored by Arnold Brothers Transport Limited. The first aircraft on the panel represents a Mystic aeroplane in an all-Aboriginal airplane company. The Junkers JU-52IM model was owned by James Richardson and Company and was shipped to Montreal in 1932 by boat to be reassembled. It was at that time the largest aircraft in North America. It would take off and land at the Brandon Avenue boat docks nonetheless. The TCA Lockheed 10A from 1937 was the first commercial aircraft in Canada. There was room for just 9 passengers and 3 crew. The 3 planes bought by TCA cost $50,000 each. Imagine that. And one of the originals was restored in Winnipeg for the company's 50th anniversary in 1987 and spends the winter in the Canadian Aviation Museum in Winnipeg. And the Junker JU-52, sponsored by the James Richardson's and Son Company, and the prop plane panel, try to say that 5 times fast, sponsored by the Mystic Air Limited and STP WAS, and the TCA plane panel, sponsored by Air Canada. Shawn.
That is a mouthful indeed. And one of the things we were mentioning is that there is a little bit of a competition between the truckers. They've decided to say, okay, we're all together, we're all making this happen. Let's see who has the best truck in the parade. And so maybe we'll find out a little later on who indeed gets voted the best truck entry here this evening.
I think it would be a really tough call because all of the floats that we've seen that have been involved with the trucking industry have been fabulous.
Just gorgeous. Now, this is what it's all about. This is the Grey Cup. Well, it doesn't move like that normally, but the Grey Cup is, of course, what this football contest on the weekend is all about. 2 teams, Calgary and Hamilton, going at it on Sunday, and this is the Grey Cup float entry. Some very big footballs on the back of this truck. Let's go down to Tracy.
This is my closest I'll ever get to my biggest dream ever, being on a Harley Davidson. This is Harley Davidson, #1 in Winnipeg.
Harley Davidson of Winnipeg rules! Grey Cup, Winnipeg rules!
Al, how did Harley Davidson get involved with the parade?
Oh, we just decided we'd get into the Parade of Lights and just benefit with the rest of Winnipeg in this great time.
And obviously you're a bike enthusiast.
Oh, bike enthusiast and football enthusiast too.
Oh, great. Thanks a lot for the ride.
Okay, it's nice having you on.
Well, it's a dangerous job out there Tracy has, riding on floats and talking to people on horses and getting in buses, and now I don't know what she's going to do next on motorcycles and whatnot. Jeepers.
She's born to be wild. She gets her motor running, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness.
There you see the Harley Davidson symbol on this float as it comes through. Harley Davidson of Winnipeg with this entry. And some dancing going on, of course, on the back of it. What's a parade without some dancing? Patricia's Dance Studio and Swing Club providing the action here this evening.
They're moving pretty well, despite the fact that it's getting a little bit chilly. Tracy was saying earlier that the wind was starting to pick up a little bit on Memorial Avenue.
There you see, of course, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, and they always have had great football spirit. And Tourism Regina, the Regina Convention and Visitor Bureau, has brought in this 48-foot participant float. And the theme is Regina Sparkles, and it certainly does as you have a look at it here. Sitting on the float is Regina's mayor, Doug Archer. And of course, the Gator the Gopher, there he is, the mascot. And float chairman Raleigh Bourassa is on there as well. The rotating stars on the float will feature many of the outstanding tourism attractions held annually in Regina, including Buffalo Days, Agribition, the Royal Saskatchewan Museum, Farm Progress, and much more. The 1998 entry marks the 23rd annual Grey Cup Parade that Tourism Regina has participated in. Tracy, take it away.
Hey, it's Rider Pride!
Huh?
We're from Saskatchewan!
Yes, and this is Rider Pride!
This is Rider Pride!
Wherever we go, people want to know.
People want to know
Who we are.
who we are.
We're gonna tell them.
We're gonna tell them.
We are Rider Pride.
We are Rider Pride.
Mighty, mighty Rider Pride.
Mighty, mighty Rider Pride.
Mighty, mighty Rider Pride.
Mighty, mighty Rider Pride.
Go Riders!
Go
Rider Pride is definitely alive here in Winnipeg. We even have some Hamilton fans trailing behind they're sneaking in on the energy here of the riders. It's a bit of cheating, I think, Nancy.
Well, last year's Grey Cup finalists, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and this year's Grey Cup finalists, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So I guess a little bit of, maybe they're just trying to keep their tradition alive a little bit, finalists. You know, they do have something in common.
They certainly do.
Hopefully the Hamilton Tiger Cats will do a little bit better than the Saskatchewan Roughriders did against the Toronto Argonauts last time the Grey Cup was held.
This is the 35-member Saskatchewan Rough Rider Pep Band. Let's listen in. Fantastic performing there by the Saskatchewan Rough Rider Pep Band. And as we move on, it's the Pei Wee Restaurant in Aboriginal Village is their theme. 60 feet in length is this float, 15 individuals on the float, 12 walking beside, and the teepee is lighted in 4 sacred colors: red, white, yellow, and blue. Traditional dances, powwow drummers and singers with the music by Aboriginal artists will be featured here on this float. Almost 1-year-old, the restaurant assists various Aboriginal communities in times of need. And there you see some of the traditional dress, and I'm sure we'll see some of the fancy shawl dancing. And of course, there is
wow,
a very famous Winnipeg performer.
That is incredible. I don't know how he does that. It must be hard on his teeth.
It is. The hoop dance, the traditional hoop dance being done by Ryan Renerth, a Winnipegger who has gained some notoriety for his fantastic dancing. Very colorful float marching down Memorial Avenue. The Exchange District Biz, the theme, the Great Mistletoe.
The Great Mistletoe, a much larger than ordinary bunch of mistletoe specially commissioned from the ancient Druids by Albert Arthur as a gift to the people of Winnipeg. The Great Mistletoe, sprinkled with star fragments, has greatly enhanced magical power to impart a special joy and happiness that will last a full year to all who bestow or receive a kiss beneath its lustrous berries. Oh, my. Invitations will be dispersed along the parade route to attend a December 6th Old Market Square, the Birds Christmas tree trimming party, and
Gateway to the world, our next truck, the Spirit of Winnipeg. This 747 Freightliner is the only one of its kind based in Canada, and it plays an intricate role in Winnipeg's Windport operation. On November 1st of this year, the aircraft started delivering goods from North America to China 3 days a week, and then returns with goods for North American distribution out of Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Airport Authority is the operator of Winnipeg International Airport, which came to pass January 1st, 1997. For more information, check out their website. This tractor sponsored by Searcy Trucking Limited, and the panels, a visual of North America, Asia, and Europe, sponsored by the Winnipeg Airport Authority, as is the Winnipeg Airport Authority panel, and the 747 Spirit of Winnipeg. Moving right along, it's the Manitoba Square and Round Downs Federation, and they're giving another great display here. 36 feet in length with 14 dancers.
This square dance group wishes to promote square dancing as a leisure activity suitable for every age group. Ted Karnowski is tonight's caller, and they have been in a number of parades, jamborees, and conventions. Square dancing is a friendship set to music, so the theme says.
Swing your partner promenade. Come on down to the Great Cup Parade. Fort Smith, Northwest Territories is our next float, and there it's a 14-foot in length boat on a trailer. 4 people will be connected with this entry, and for the leader, Joe Mercred, this will be his 28th Grey Cup Parade.
That is a heck of a long tradition, going to that many Grey Cups. My goodness, he must have been to the one here in 1991, Shawn. And some of this, it's just actually a part of their livelihood. People plan their vacations around coming to the Grey Cup. They just like it so much. And off to the next float. It's the Winter Wonderland, celebrating a decade of magic. The float is 60 feet in length. For the past 10 years, 20-year-old Brooke Jones has transformed his yard in Fort Garry every December to look like Santa's playground. The float contains many of those same handmade plywood decorations, including Christmas trees, Frosty the Snowman, reindeer, candy canes, and of course Santa and Mrs. Claus. There they are, and amongst all the other spectators on the float. Visitors to his yard scene on McDougall Street will regularly bring an item of non-perishable food for the Winnipeg Harvest Food Bank.
A walking unit is the Synchro Swim Club of Manitoba, and they're, of course, walking to music, even though they don't look too synchronous here this evening. Icon Office Solutions is our next float with Ducks Unlimited, a 50-foot length float with 25 participants. Icon Office Solutions has partnered with Ducks Unlimited to bring you the message that habitat is essential to the future of ducks, geese, and a wide range of other wildlife. Mascot Dooduck right there on your screen, along with a pulled vehicle with an inflatable mallard. Max the Mallard, the big mallard you saw earlier, resting in the marshes. Following the inflatable will be 2 bicycle units towing a string of brightly painted yellow ducks. In the pulled vehicle are executives from Icon and Ducks Unlimited, and junior members of Ducks Unlimited called Green Wings, named after the green-winged teal, the smallest of the ducks. Fantastic. There you see some of the youngsters in the marshes with Max the Mallard.
It looks like they're having a great time, Shawn.
Some of the Green Wings in the marshes. Special experience for those youngsters here this evening.
And we believe the next float coming around the corner onto Memorial Avenue, yes it is, there it is, Beatrice Canada, Parmalat, Beatrice Canada. The float is 41 feet in length and it has 28 participants, and they are all family members of some of the employees who work at Parmalat, Beatrice Canada. The float features Bee the cow, and there you see Bee. She's not as big as the Life Bear or the Humpty big float that we saw, but she's still a force to be reckoned with nonetheless. And the idea for the parade float came from an employee named Marcel Lemire. Bee the cow is 18 feet from the ground, so I don't think that she'll have to be, when she comes along Memorial Avenue, I don't think that she'll have to be pulled down to clear the pedestrian crossing, because I think she's pretty low to the ground actually. But Bee's having a good time, and as everybody else along the parade route who's bared some pretty chilly temperatures. It's a little bit chilly outside now, Shawn, to come down tonight.
Tracy Koga is at street level with Jeff Skinner. Tracy?
Well, 2 heads are better than one. No, Jeff, great parade.
Well, yeah, it has turned out wonderfully. We've got a crowd here that's bigger than 91 by the looks of it. Everybody's having a good time, even in spite of the weather getting cold, but it's going to warm up, they say, so before the parade's over. And no, it's just been fabulous. We were very, very pleased by the response.
What was the problem with the cow?
We just couldn't get him out of the underpass as well, but hey, you live and learn.
I'm waiting for the fireworks now.
So am I, and that's going to be coming up in just a few minutes.
Great, thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank you, Tracy and Jeff. There you see Bee the cow. I guess Bee just decided she's milked it enough today. She just wanted to sit down and enjoy the parade like everyone else has here. Thousands of people have turned out for this event here, and many of them along the Memorial Avenue part of the parade route right now. Some of the people from Portage, of course, at the end of the route are walking down with the rest of the floats coming down here as we get a look at some of the relatives of the employees of Beatrice, and of course some of the employees as well.
She could have been on the Moo Bus. Do you think she would have fit quite well on the Moo Bus?
She would have fit quite well on the Moo Bus. And, I'm not sure if Dale could have fit Bee the cow on there, but I'm sure they would have given it their best college try. As we continue on the parade route, we get a look at a limousine coming through.
Some of the people from Labatt's, it looks like. It looks like the beer can. We've got a human beer can walking through the throngs of people and waving and promoting their product. I'm sure there'll be lots of product consumed this weekend, Shawn.
I'm sure there will be. The Bronx Park Community Club 60-foot length float. 20 participants are on the float. The theme is the Bronx Park Community Center east of East Kildonan, I should say, and the yellow and brown colors on the float are the community center's official colors. Many of the activities that take place in the center are listed on the float, such as ringette, hockey, baseball, youth dances, craft shows, bingo, and of course much, much more. An interesting note, the Bronx Park was the community center where NHL hockey stars Terry Sawchuk and Billy Masterton first started their hockey careers.
I did not know that, Shawn.
I didn't know that either, actually. I know Terry was definitely a Kildonan resident in his earlier days. I didn't realize he took part in the activities at Bronx Park.
Oh, we hear those horns. What that must be, there must be another truck around the corner.
Yes, indeed. Our next truck coming up has the theme of transportation and you. We'll get a look at that right now. The transportation industry in Manitoba, that's air, rail, bus, and truck company employees, over 60,000 Manitobans, of course, bringing transportation to you, helping make our lives as free and enjoyable as they are. This tractor sponsored by Tri-Line Freight Systems.
And we also, sorry, Shawn, we should also mention that the parade couldn't have been possible without the 6 gold level sponsors, and they are in no order of importance, but definitely they are important. General Motors of Canada Limited, Rowley's Transfer Company Limited, Petro Canada, Dr. Hook Towing Systems Limited, Bank of Nova Scotia, and Windman Transport Limited, pardon me. All of those are the 6 gold level sponsors, and they are some of the sponsors that are needed to put this parade together, and definitely are helping to make this parade a success. So once again, General Motors of Canada, Rowley's Transfer Company Limited, Petro Canada, Dr. Hook Towing Systems, Bank of Nova Scotia, and Windman Transport Limited.
And as we've mentioned all throughout the broadcast, the truckers of Manitoba have thrown a lot of support behind this event. Each of the owners of these big, beautiful tractor units pulling the display trailers has made a significant financial contribution to make the parade possible. Now, as we look on, it's the Power 97 Burger King Cruiser. It's coming up after we speak with Tracy down at on street level. Tracy?
We're on now.
All right.
Power 97 rocks. We've got BJ and Hill. You guys, I've got competition here. I was supposed to be the only one lighted up.
Well, you know, it took us...
You know what we can't figure out? My lights keep falling off and I'm shaped like a Christmas tree. It makes no sense. But anyhow, it's great to be out here, Tracy, and good to have everybody watching on video on Cable 11 tonight.
Enjoy yourselves.
Thanks for having us.
BJ and Hal from Power 97. Make sure you check them out every morning. Al Anderson, a friend of mine for a long time, and he's all that, folks. He's definitely that crazy.
Have you ever seen him dressed up like a Christmas tree?
Never. I've seen him dressed up as a number of things, but never a Christmas tree. Good participation by BJ and Heller. And there, of course, now is the Power 97 Burger King Cruiser.
One of the last floats, actually, in this year's parade. It's just almost winding down. It's been an absolutely positively wonderful night. And thank you to Burger King and Power 97 for being involved with the first ever lighted Grey Cup parade, and this is the Festival of Lights parade here on Videon.
And we'd like to thank all the good people at Videon Cable 11. We're really proud to be bringing you this parade coverage. It really is one more part of Videon's ongoing commitment to be part of big events like the Mayoral Forum, Canada Cup Volleyball, the Festival de Voyageur, and other events that are so much a part of our great community. And another part of our community over the years has been the Winnipeg Blue Bomberette alumni. From 1952 to 1980, these are some of the people that were on that Bomberette squad, and they're in 4 Suzuki Jeeps and walking along the route. And Nancy, I understand baton twirling in the dancing corps and everything else was part of their routine way back when.
It was first organized back in 1952 by Hazel Tinsley, wife of Blue Bomber player Buddy Tinsley. The group was guided by Donna Barrett, that's her maiden name. Fila starting in 1953, and Donna remained director choreographer for the next 27 years. Over the years, the group has performed at Blue Bomber Games, 4 Grey Cups, and 6 World Fairs. Wow! As well as many local charities, including the Schmocky night each year, as opposed to hockey, obviously, Shawn.
Yes. Charitable event I've covered a couple of times. A really good event that they had for many years here in Winnipeg, as we get a look at the Bomberette alumni. Still with their original colored uniforms, and those look fantastic. And then, of course, are you a Fred head? I am. Fred Penner Productions, the well-known entertainer Fred Penner will certainly attract cheers from everybody here, especially the young fans along the parade route. And there's Fred. one of his daughters on the float with him as well.
He is a Winnipeg institution, I believe. He has brought so much notoriety to everybody. Let's see if we can listen in on what Fred Penner sang to the crowd. Well, looks like Fred's finished talking, at least for tonight. He's brought so much acclamation to the city of Winnipeg and so much good publicity, and a great children's entertainer. And no, I was never a Fred head, but can appreciate his music still.
Here you see some of the members of the Winnipeg Blue Bomber alumni: Willard Reeves, Trevor Kennard, and Kevin Nealis is on this float as well. There you see some of the people. There's Willard. James Murphy, the Murph, who runs a fish restaurant down at the Forks.
Joe Poblowski looks like Frozen Joe right now.
Congratulations to Joe to being named to the CFL Hall of Fame. My friend Bob Molly, longtime bomber and wrestling coach, a silver medalist in the 1984 Olympics. He's, of course, aboard with all the other bomber greats. 6 decades of bomber greats.
Well, I guess this gives proof to the fact that, yes, there is life after football, especially if you have the Grey Cup in your city and you host a parade. Here's Tracy. Well, we think Tracy Koga's down there somewhere. Tracy, are you there?
Say it loud, Colleen.
Tracy, this has been wonderful. Janice, how do you feel about it?
I think it's been great. We're so pleased that all our months of preparation have paid off.
This is Ernie Nairn and Janice Pennard. They have been behind this from day one, and you have to be awfully proud of tonight.
Well, you know, we had a great parade committee. We had Roger Prevost, who was our parade logistics chair, Jess Skinner, our parade coordinator, and Penny McMillan from Tourism Winnipeg, who is our parade chair. It's a huge team effort.
Yeah, it's been really great, Tracy. We got to thank Video on TV and Randy Roberts, yourself, and Shawn Coates, and the other young lady. What's her name again?
Nancy Gummo.
Nancy Gummo for doing a great commentary. Hubert Cleason for getting the Trucking Association and the transportation industry in Manitoba on board. This is great, and this really kicks off Grey Cup week in Winnipeg. And all we look forward to now is a great game on Sunday. Everything will be great. Janice, congratulations.
Well, it's a great team effort, and thanks, Tracy and Videon.
Right,
We've had so much fun. Thanks for letting us be a part.
Have a great Cup game on Sunday.
The 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade is brought to you by the Manitoba Trucking Association, the Transportation Industry of Manitoba, and Nonstop Grey Cup Festivities 98. There you see the legislative buildings here in the great city of Winnipeg, the capital of Manitoba. In moments, this will be the scene of the great fireworks display we'll have to conclude the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade. Of course, we're coming to you live from Memorial Avenue. Shawn Coates, Nancy Gummo, and of course Tracy Koga. And Nancy, we've just witnessed the parade part of this event here this evening, and it's just been overwhelming.
It has been overwhelming, an incredible display of lights, and like we mentioned, this is going to be the legacy, one of the legacies that the Grey Cup does actually leave after it's gone. They hope to continue the parade in addition to the lighting of the legislature and whatnot after the Grey Cup is gone. So hopefully this parade, what we've seen, will be an indication of the many years to come in Winnipeg right now.
Yes, and Tracy Koga's been busy all night, and she's still down at street level. Tracy, what's happening?
The crowd is slowly making their way to see the big fireworks. It's a big climax of a wonderful evening. The Manitoba Trucking Association, along with the Manitoba Transportation Industry, were two main supporters of this great parade tonight. One key individual responsible for putting this all together was CEO and President of Clayson Transport Limited, Hubert Clayson. I spoke with Mr. Clayson, a strong Winnipeg supporter and transportation enthusiast, about his involvement and the development of tonight's biggest float in the parade, the history of transportation in Manitoba.
I've always been interested in the transportation, or the history of transportation in the province. The reason why Winnipeg is here is because it's at the forks of the Red and the Assiniboine. Then the big move forward for Winnipeg was when the railroads come to town, and we were the gateway to the west. So the history of transportation in this city has always been very important to me. So I thought if we could put together a parade that could explain to the people some of the history of Manitoba, which I think is very dear and very important to the city. So that's where the idea started. And then we put together, with a number of people, some ideas, which started with the Aboriginal canoe, fur trader canoe, the York boat, then to the Traverse, the ox cart, the mail rider, Countess of Dufferin when it first come to town, the CN when its first locomotive come in, to the manufacturing of buses in Winnipeg. A lot of people don't realize that New Flyer started in Winnipeg in the early 30s. Motor coach industry started in the late 20s.
Have you been very much hands-on through the whole process?
I've been pretty well, I've been involved quite regular with it on some of the design work and seeing about where the lighting could come from, and collecting money to pay for the parade. I've been deeply involved in that. But I must say, from starting this, I think in the 1st of September to now, which, what are we, the 5th of November, we've got almost all the murals done. Like you can see, it's an old biplane behind us. This represents aviation, one of the first airplanes. Then we have the first Canadian aviation airplane. We have the first TCA airplane. The birthplace of TCA was Winnipeg, and TCA, obviously, that was the name before it was called Air Canada. And we have it right through to the rockets that Bristol makes, to a picture of the 777 representing the Boeing industry in Winnipeg.
Tell us a little bit about the teamwork involved, including the Manitoba Trucking Association.
Well, the Manitoba Trucking Association has been most cooperative on this, and they really took the ball. Bob Delenick, general manager of the Manitoba Trucking Association, got on board and has just been terrific, sending out letters, arranging that a number of the truckers and other industry people got together so we could have a meeting. I think it was about second or third week in September where we first put our ideas across to them. And from that meeting, a number of them jumped right on board that night to sponsor different panels. It costs the different firms $5,000 a panel to sponsor it. The Trucking Association has just been terrific. Of course, I must say, so has the CP and CN, and the airline people have been very, very good on saying, yes, we'll come on board and help the parade. There seems to be a lot of interest and a lot of teamwork in this, and the people that are involved are happy to be involved, and they like the idea. It's one way for us, the transportation industry in the province, to show that we are a large industry, totally between air, rail, bus, and truck, and outlying industries. We employ about 60,000 people. We are a large employer of people, and I think it's time that people know how many people are employed.
Do you feel that it's very important to have strong community roots and to support the city?
Oh, I certainly do, and I think Winnipeg's a great city, and one of our problems is we don't show off our city enough, and this may be a way that the transportation industry in Winnipeg we should be proud of the city.
There you see the scene in front of the legislative buildings here on Memorial Avenue. That's Memorial Park. many of the last few floats from the parade are still creeping their way down Memorial Avenue past the park before our fireworks display here in the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade. I'm Shawn Coates, and CFL commentator Nancy Gummo joins me here. Nancy, as we mentioned earlier, just a fantastic night of lights, fireworks, music, marching bands, everything.
It had everything. It was built as a family-oriented night, but I tell you, there was something for everyone in this parade. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the game. Who are you picking on Sunday?
Well, my head says Calgary, but my heart says Hamilton, so I'm going to pull for the Tiger Cats.
Well, I think I'm going to be pulling for the Stampeders,
okay.
But just because I live in Manitoba now, got to support the Western football club. So it has definitely been, the parade has definitely kicked off, as Ernie Nairn said quite rightly to Tracy Koga earlier, that it has definitely been a wonderful night, and a night that I think that many Winnipeggers who stood in line and waited and saw some fabulous floats, and congratulations to all of the volunteers and all of the support here at Videon. We've had a tremendous cast and crew here tonight to support us and to make this parade a success.
Yes, and of course it is indeed the truckers of Manitoba who really made this a special event. They threw their support behind it, and the people that were hauling the big rigs up and down the road put their financial support behind us to override the cost of the parade and to make it a successful event, and we'd like to thank them. And of course, we'd really like to thank all the people at Videon who are committed to bringing you special events such as the Mayoral Forum, the Canada Cup, the Festival de Voyageurs will be at things like Jazz Fest and all that as the year goes on. So really just a big year of events coming up in 1999 for Videon. And now, once again, at street level, it's Tracy Koga. Tracy?
Oh, we're almost at the fireworks. Are halfway down here, and I've collected a gang here. What is the consensus on tonight? Was it a good time? We're going Now, what was your favorite float? Oh. Get under the underpass? So? Or what about the Shoppers Drug Mart there that collapsed? Did you? That was fun. It was fun. It was just awesome. So do you think this should happen every year? Yeah.
You know, the very best part was the Harley Davidson motorcycles. Yeah. Those are like so cool.
I know, and I got to ride on the back one. It was, that would have been
awesome. That is awesome. That's cool. Yes.
So, are we ready for fireworks?
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna make the legislature, and then we'll be back with the fireworks.
Thanks, Tracy. As you can see, traffic just starting to be reopened up here in the city. It was blocked off for a number of hours here in anticipation of the parade, and then of course during the parade here. So traffic's starting to move through, the police opening up some of the different roads, and we can hear a PA announcer in the background. Maybe this means that the fireworks will be coming along shortly. However, as we mentioned, it takes a huge number of people and a lot of community spirit to make an event like this size and magnitude possible. And in that regard, we would like to recognize some direct contributions in providing food, hot chocolate, warming stations, cooperation, all kinds of energy and enthusiasm to support this parade. A tip of our Videon Cable 11 hat to the Downtown Biz, Portage Avenue Property Owners Association, Tim Hortons, Hershey's Portage Place, Salisbury House, and of course Muffin Oven. So we'd like to thank them for really lending a lot of great community spirit and support to making this parade possible happening for Winnipeg.
And as we've seen, this parade has taken months to put on. It has taken hundreds and thousands of volunteers, and thanks to the Manitoba trucking industry and transportation companies all throughout Manitoba, and especially in Winnipeg, to make this parade such a success. And hopefully, like we said earlier, it will be around for years to come, and this will kick off a memorable weekend in Winnipeg. Are you going to get out and get to see any of the Grey Cup festivities before Sunday's big game?
Yes, I am. I'm going to try and get out and see some of that, that's for sure. It's going to start tonight, actually. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have fireworks here from Memorial Avenue. This is the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade.
The 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade is brought to you by the Manitoba Trucking Association, the Transportation Industry of Manitoba, and Non-Stop Grey Cup Festivities 98.
Many lights adorn the area around Memorial Park, and of course the 3,700 lights around the Manitoba Legislature. However, they will be a whole lot brighter here in just a few moments as things appear to be just about ready for the 1998 Festival of Lights Grey Cup Parade fireworks event that follows this great parade that we've just seen. Shawn Coates here with my friend and CFL commentator Nancy Gummo. Tracy Koga's out in the streets providing you some interviews that you've seen all throughout the night. And Nancy, I can't wait for the fireworks now. It's time to get this show going here.
It will be a wonderful display, a wonderful end to a positively perfect night. You know, thousands of people lined the parade. We didn't actually get crowd kind of estimates, but I mean, just looking at the number of people were lined up 6 deep on Memorial Boulevard, just outside our Videon, kind of perched across the street from the Hudson's Bay Company here on Memorial Boulevard. And people definitely looked like they were having a good time. As Tracy Koga was talking to many of the people and the participants in the parade, everybody was having a wonderful time. And like everybody else who's kind of walked down to the provincial legislature with the golden boy atop the Manitoba legislature, everybody is just waiting for the fireworks display. And if it's anything like the parade, it should be one spectacular event, that's for sure.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to have that for you in just a few moments. And once again, we're going to go down to Tracy, who has some comments from street level. Tracy?
The streets are bare right now because they're all at the legislative grounds. Like Nancy and Shawn have said, it has just been one spectacular evening. One float after the other rolling by, the excitement, the kids. It's just been wonderful, and it's so great to be part of this city when you see such great spirit. And this week is going to be fabulous. The parade is just one of the events, and of course the big game on Sunday, as everybody knows. Just to let you know, we're all waiting for the fireworks. We keep on saying that as things go live. It takes some time, but we have a very good vantage view right on top of the Winnipeg Art Gallery with our rooftop camera. So stick around. The fireworks are going to be just as incredible as the parade was.
Yes, indeed, Tracy. Sorry, go ahead, Nancy.
No, Tracy, what was your favorite part of the parade? You got to do a whole bunch of things tonight.
It was interesting, you know. It's tough to say. The move bus was interesting, but I think it comes down to